Buckle up, because today we are going on an unexpected journey.
Oh,
Yeah, we're going deep into the world of hot air balloons
interesting.
and their surprisingly big impact on Britain.
Okay.
It's fascinating how something so whimsical could play such a significant role in history and technology and culture.
Right.
You've sent us a really incredible mix of sources on this.
I did.
For this deep dive, everything from those daring first flights to how balloons found their way into art and literature.
It's quite a story.
Yeah, so let's fire up the burner, so to speak,
Yep.
and take off into this fascinating world.
I'm particularly interested in the early days. You know, it's amazing to think about a time when the very concept of human flight was revolutionary.
It's mind-blowing to think that the first hot air balloon flight carrying humans was way back in 1783.
Yeah, the Montgolfier brothers in France, they're credited with that groundbreaking achievement.
Wow.
And their first passengers weren't even human.
Really?
They set up a sheep, a duck, and a rooster. Can you imagine the scene? A crowd gathered, watching this balloon ascend with these unlikely passengers.
It must have felt like a scene from a fantasy tale or something.
It's like something out of a dream or a very peculiar science experiment.
Right. It makes you wonder what was going through people's minds as they witnessed this.
Oh, I think it was a mix of awe and apprehension.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah.
this idea of humans taking to the air must have been both exhilarating and unsettling for those who witnessed those early flights.
Wow.
And this tension between embracing progress and fearing its consequences.
Right.
It's something we'll see play out again and again in the story of hot air balloons.
That's fascinating how something so visually stunning could also provoke those complex emotions and societal debates.
Yeah.
But before we get ahead of ourselves,
Sure.
let's bring it back to Britain.
Okay.
How did this whole balloon craze make its way across the English Channel?
Well, balloon mania was contagious.
Was it?
Just a year after the Montgolfier brothers' flight in 1784, we have James Tytler taking to the skies over Edinburgh in a balloon of his own design.
Oh, wow.
That same year, Vincenzo Lunardi captivated London with his flight, this time with a dog, a cat, and pigeon on board.
So it seems like they knew to add the animals.
Yeah, they understood the power of spectacle.
Right, and good PR even back then.
Exactly.
But beyond these early flights, what really propelled hot air balloons beyond mere curiosity? Was it just the novelty, or did people quickly grasp their potential for, say, science and exploration?
Well, there's this incredible story that highlights the shift from spectacle to practical application.
Okay.
Jean-Pierre Blanchard and Dr. John Jeffries
Okay.
made a daring flight across the English Channel in 1785.
Wow.
Think about it, crossing the sea in a balloon in 1785.
Yeah,
It was an incredibly bold feat that captured the public's imagination
it did.
and demonstrated the potential of balloons to overcome geographical boundaries.
It makes you wonder if those early balloonists felt like explorers setting sail for uncharted territories. I can imagine them looking down at the world from a completely new perspective, maybe mapping uncharted landscapes
Yeah.
and collecting data from the sky.
That's right.
Were they the first to see the world from this unique vantage point?
They were certainly among the pioneers.
Wow.
Before balloons, scientific observation was largely confined to the ground.
Right.
But suddenly, scientists had this platform that could carry them high above the earth,
Yeah.
giving them a new perspective for studying the atmosphere, mapping terrain,
Okay.
even capturing those first somewhat blurry aerial photographs.
Wow.
Think of it as the very beginnings of remote sensing and aerial imagery.
It's incredible to think that something as seemingly simple as a hot air balloon could pave the way for such advancements.
Yeah.
It really underscores how innovation often starts with a seemingly simple idea
Yeah.
that then sparks a cascade of new possibilities.
Right.
But was the scientific community quick to embrace this new technology, or were there skeptics who questioned its value?
There were certainly challenges, as with any new technology.
Right.
Early balloons were unreliable, vulnerable to weather conditions,
Yeah.
limited in how much equipment they could carry.
Of course.
And I'm sure there were skeptics within the scientific community who questioned the reliability and validity of data
Right.
collected from such a seemingly unstable platform.
Makes sense.
But the potential was undeniable.
It was.
And as the technology improved, balloons became increasingly valuable tools for scientific research.
So while the sheep, duck, and rooster flights might have grabbed the headlines,
Yeah.
the real impact of hot air balloons was unfolding in the scientific community,
Right.
quietly revolutionizing the way we observed and understood the world around us.
Yeah.
This makes me think, did these early scientific uses of balloons lead to any significant discoveries or breakthroughs?
That's a fantastic question.
Were they just a tool for observation,
Yeah,
or did they play a more active role in scientific progress?
that's a question historians of science are still exploring. While we may not be able to point to a single eureka moment directly attributable to hot air balloons,
Right.
their impact was profound.
Was it?
They allowed scientists to collect atmospheric data at higher altitudes,
Okay.
study weather patterns, and conduct experiments that simply weren't possible on the ground.
Interesting.
These findings, in turn, contributed to our understanding of meteorology,
Okay.
physics, and even astronomy.
Wow.
They were a catalyst for further exploration and a shift in scientific thinking, paving the way for advancements we might take for granted today.
So these balloons were more than just whimsical spectacles. They
Yeah.
were the precursors to weather balloons, research aircraft, even satellites.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It's amazing how an invention that seems so simple in retrospect could be so instrumental in shaping the course of scientific progress.
Yeah.
But it wasn't just about science, was it? We mentioned the military earlier.
Right.
How did they get in on the action?
Well, the potential military applications of balloons quickly became apparent. Imagine being able to observe enemy movements from above, directing artillery fire with greater precision.
Right.
That's exactly what happened during the Boer War,
Oh, wow.
where the British Army utilized observation balloons for reconnaissance, gaining a significant tactical advantage.
So we've got scientists in the skies, military strategists using balloons for reconnaissance.
Yeah.
It seems like the uses for these balloons were expanding rapidly.
We were.
But weren't they also incredibly limited in terms of maneuverability?
Was. Yeah.
I mean, how did people even envision using them for things like transportation or communication?
That's a great point.
Yeah.
They weren't exactly known for their speed or precise navigation.
Right.
But even with these limitations, there are fascinating accounts of balloons being used to transport goods and even people,
Like,
albeit in a somewhat haphazard way.
wow.
And during the Franco-Prussian War, when ground-based communication was cut off,
Yeah.
balloons were ingeniously used to deliver mail.
Oh, wow.
Talk about thinking outside the box.
It's incredible how adaptable people were finding ways to utilize this new technology for a range of purposes.
It is.
It makes you wonder if they saw these limitations as temporary setbacks, or if they genuinely believed balloons could be the future of transportation and communication.
It's fascinating to consider, isn't it?
Yeah.
While some may have envisioned a future filled with airships and balloon-based transportation networks,
Right.
I suspect most recognize the limitations.
Okay.
But perhaps that's what's so captivating about this era,
Yeah.
that sense of boundless possibility, that willingness to experiment and see where new technology might lead, even if the path forward wasn't entirely clear.
It's like they were standing on the cusp of a new era.
Yeah.
Time when the sky was no longer the limit, but a vast expanse ripe for exploration and innovation.
It was a time of incredible change and possibility.
And while the practical applications of balloons were certainly significant, there's another layer to this story that I find particularly intriguing. How did hot air balloons impact the way people perceived the world around them?
That's a great question. One we'll explore more in part 2.
We'll be right back.
Welcome back to our deep dive into hot air balloons and their impact on Britain.
You know, as we were delving into these sources, I kept thinking about the people on the ground.
Yeah.
You know, those who witnessed these early balloon flights.
Right.
What was it like for them to see these giant, colorful objects suddenly appearing in the sky?
It must have challenged their very understanding of what was possible.
I bet.
Absolutely. Imagine you're living in London in the late 1700s.
Okay.
Word spreads through the city that a balloon ascent is about to take place.
Oh.
People flock to parks and open spaces,
Okay.
their eyes fixed on the sky as this enormous, brightly colored balloon inflates.
Yeah.
Then with a collective gasp, it lifts off,
Oh.
seemingly defying gravity itself.
It's almost like a scene from a science fiction movie, except this was real life unfolding before their eyes.
It was a remarkable sight.
Did this sense of wonder translate into widespread acceptance of balloons? Or were there people who viewed them with suspicion or even fear?
It's important to remember that this was a time when religious beliefs played a significant role in people's lives.
Right.
The idea of humans taking to the air
Yeah.
could be seen as overstepping boundaries, a
Right.
challenge to the natural order of things, even blasphemous by some.
Wow.
So alongside the excitement, There were anxieties, concerns about the potential consequences
Yeah.
of tampering with forces that seemed beyond human control.
So you had this fascinating tension
Yeah,
between embracing progress and fearing its unintended consequences.
that's right.
Were these anxieties reflected in how balloons were portrayed in art and literature at the time?
Absolutely. Some artists depicted balloons as ethereal beings, almost divine in their beauty and grace,
Okay.
while others portrayed them as disruptive forces,
Oh,
symbols of human hubris that upset the balance of nature.
wow.
Literature of the era also reflects this duality, with balloons appearing as both symbols of adventure and progress and harbingers of potential chaos and destruction.
It seems these balloons weren't just technological innovations.
No, they were.
They were cultural barometers reflecting the complex hopes and fears of a society undergoing rapid change.
That's a great way to put it.
Did this debate about the role of balloons,
Yeah.
about the limits of human ambition, influence the development of flight technology in any way?
It's difficult to say for certain, but I think this tension is inherent in any technological advancement.
Yeah.
The invention of the hot air balloon wasn't just about conquering the skies.
Right.
It was about pushing the boundaries
Yeah.
of what it meant to be human,
Yeah.
what was considered possible, acceptable even.
Right.
And that's a debate that continues today with every new technological leap we make.
That's a profound point.
It is.
It's like balloons force society to confront not just the practical possibilities of flight,
Yeah,
but the ethical and philosophical implications as well.
absolutely.
Did this societal impact fade as balloons became more commonplace?
Well,
Or did it have a lasting influence on British culture?
while the initial frenzy surrounding balloons eventually subsided,
Okay.
I think their legacy is woven into the fabric of British society.
Yeah.
They helped foster a culture of scientific inquiry and experimentation, a willingness to push boundaries and explore new frontiers.
Right.
And this spirit of innovation had ripple effects across many fields, not just aviation.
I can see that the success of balloons must have given people a sense of possibility,
Yeah,
a belief that they could achieve things that were previously thought impossible.
that's right.
It's like they opened up a new realm of human potential.
Exactly.
And it wasn't just about scientific advancement.
Yeah.
Balloons also played a role in shaping British national identity.
They did.
Those daring flights across the English Channel, for example,
Right.
became a source of national pride, a testament to British ingenuity and courage.
Yeah, captured the public imagination.
It's like those stories became part of the national mythology,
Yeah.
inspiring future generations of explorers and innovators.
Absolutely.
But beyond these grand narratives, how did balloons impact the lives of everyday people?
Wow.
Did they become integrated into British social life?
Well, think about those early balloon festivals we talked about.
Okay.
They became major social events, drawing huge crowds from all walks of life.
I can imagine.
It wasn't just about witnessing a spectacle.
Right.
It was about coming together as a community, sharing in the excitement and wonder of this new technology.
Yeah.
And that sense of shared experience, that communal joy, is something that still draws people to balloon events today.
It's interesting how these events seem to tap into a very human need for awe and wonder.
Yeah.
It's like they offer a brief escape from the mundane, a reminder of the beauty and possibility that surrounds us.
That's a great way to put it.
Did this cultural integration of balloons extend beyond festivals and public gatherings?
Oh, absolutely.
It did.
Balloons popped up everywhere.
Really?
In art, literature, fashion, even home decor. Imagine dresses with billowing skirts resembling balloon shapes,
That's
hats adorned with miniature hot air balloons, wallpaper patterned with whimsical balloon motifs.
It sounds like they were everywhere.
It's like the whole nation was swept up in this balloon craze.
It sounds like they captured the public imagination in a way that few inventions have.
Yeah,
It makes me think of the advent of the automobile or the internet, those moments when a new technology fundamentally reshapes how we live,
yeah,
how we see the world, even how we dress.
right.
But what about the balloons themselves?
Okay.
Did they undergo any significant technological advancements during this period, or were they still those somewhat precarious contraptions we imagine from early illustrations?
Well, early balloons were definitely more fragile and less reliable
Okay.
than their modern counterparts. But even in those early days, there was constant experimentation and innovation.
So even amidst the spectacle and the cultural frenzy, there was this underlying drive to improve the technology to make balloons safer, more durable, and perhaps even more controllable.
That's right.
Were there any breakthroughs during this period that significantly impacted balloon design or performance?
One of the key challenges was finding a reliable and efficient way to inflate the balloons.
Right, because those early methods were pretty dangerous.
Early methods often involved open fires, which were both dangerous and unpredictable.
Yeah.
But as the technology progressed, new heating systems were developed, leading to greater control and safety.
So that's good.
And the materials used to construct balloons also evolved from paper and silk to more durable fabrics that were lighter, stronger, and more resistant to tears and punctures.
So it was a gradual process of refinement driven by both practicality and the desire to push the limits of what balloons could achieve.
Exactly.
But there's one question that keeps coming back to me.
Okay.
How did those early balloonists actually steer these contraptions?
Yeah.
I mean, they don't have rudders or propellers. It seems like they were at the mercy of the wind drifting wherever it took them.
That's a question that has puzzled people for centuries.
Has it?
And the answer lies in understanding how wind currents work at different altitudes.
Oh, okay.
The atmosphere is like a giant layer cake with different layers of wind moving in different directions.
Interesting.
A skilled balloon pilot can ascend or descend to find a wind current that's blowing in the desired direction.
It's like they're surfing the wind, riding these invisible currents to navigate the skies.
That's a great analogy.
It must require a lot of skill, intuition, and knowledge of local weather patterns.
It does. And even then, there's a certain element of chance involved.
Really?
You can never completely predict how the wind will behave.
Right.
But that's part of the allure of ballooning, that sense of surrendering to the elements of letting go of control and embracing the journey.
It sounds both exhilarating and slightly terrifying.
It can be both.
It makes me think of those early explorers setting sail across uncharted oceans, not knowing what they might encounter.
Yeah, there are definitely parallels there.
But there's one thing I still don't quite understand.
When it's out.
With all these limitations, how did balloons ever become a popular recreational activity?
Right.
What sparked that transition from scientific and military applications to leisure and entertainment?
That's a question we'll explore in part 3, where we'll delve into the evolution of ballooning from its early days to its modern incarnation as a vibrant and exciting activity enjoyed by people all over the world. Welcome back for the final leg of our hot air balloon adventure.
I'm curious, we've talked about how balloons revolutionized science, captivated the public, and even influenced fashion.
Right.
But what's the bigger picture here? What do these seemingly simple contraptions tell us about ourselves?
Oh, that's a question worth pondering.
Yeah.
I think hot air balloons represent a fundamental human desire.
Okay.
This urge to break free from earthly constraints.
Right.
And experience the world from a new perspective.
Yeah.
They're a tangible manifestation of that age-old dream of flight.
It's like they capture that childlike sense of wonder we feel when we look up at the sky and imagine soaring among the clouds. But balloons did more than just fuel our imaginations, didn't they?
Yeah.
They made human flight a reality.
Right.
And in a way that was both spectacular and accessible.
They democratized flight, making it a shared experience that transcended social classes.
Wow.
People from all walks of life could gather and witness this marvel,
Right.
the seemingly impossible feat of humans taking to the air.
It's like those early moving pictures.
Yeah.
A technology that at first seemed like magic.
Right.
Capturing the imagination of an entire generation.
Absolutely.
Did this shared experience of early balloon flights contribute to a sense of unity or shared purpose within British society?
It's fascinating to consider. Remember, this was a time of rapid social and technological change.
It was.
A time when traditional ways of life were being challenged by new ideas and innovations.
Right.
Balloons, in a way, became a focal point for these anxieties and aspirations.
Yeah.
They represented both the thrill of progress
Yeah.
and the uncertainty of the unknown.
So they were both a symbol of human ingenuity and a reminder of the potential consequences of our ambition.
That's a great way to put it.
It's like they forced society to confront not just the possibilities,
Yeah.
but also the limits of human endeavor.
Right.
But did this societal introspection fade as balloons became more commonplace? Or did it leave a lasting mark?
While the initial frenzy surrounding balloons eventually subsided,
Yeah.
I think their impact on how we view ourselves and the world around us lingers to this day.
In what way?
They expanded our horizons literally and figuratively,
Right.
and challenged us to reevaluate our place within the vastness of the cosmos.
It's like they gave us a new lens through which to view the world, a reminder that there's always more to discover, more to explore, more to understand.
Exactly.
But what about the balloons themselves? We touched on their evolution earlier.
Yeah.
But how did they make the leap from scientific and military tools
Right.
to the recreational objects we see today.
That shift began in the mid-20th century with the introduction of propane burners.
Okay.
These burners offered a safer and more efficient way to heat the air inside the balloon,
Right.
making them easier to control,
Okay.
and significantly reducing the risks associated with early open-flame heating systems.
So this seemingly minor technological advancement
Yep.
played a major role in making hot air ballooning a more accessible and enjoyable activity.
It did.
What about the balloons themselves?
Sure.
Did their design or construction undergo any significant changes during this period?
Absolutely. The materials used to make balloons also evolved.
Oh, really?
New fabrics, lighter and more durable, replaced the silk and paper of early balloons,
Okay.
making them less susceptible to tears and punctures.
Right.
These advancements in materials and heating systems paved the way for the modern hot air balloon,
Yeah.
safer, more reliable, and capable of longer and more controlled flights.
It's amazing how something as seemingly simple as a propane burner could have such a profound impact on the evolution of ballooning. It makes you think about how often innovation hinges on these seemingly small but crucial breakthroughs.
That's right.
But how did balloons make the leap from a niche activity to a popular form of recreation? Was there a specific event or cultural shift that sparked this transformation?
I think it was a gradual evolution driven by a confluence of factors.
Such as?
Advancements in technology, a growing fascination with aviation, and a desire for unique and exhilarating experiences.
Yeah.
Balloon festivals, which we've talked about throughout this deep dive, also played a significant role in popularizing this activity.
Those festivals really do seem to embody the spirit of modern hot air ballooning.
Yeah.
You've described them so vividly, I can almost feel the excitement of the crowd, the vibrant colors of the balloons against the sky, that sense of shared awe and wonder.
They're truly special events.
But what is it about these events that draws people in? Why do they continue to hold such appeal in a world that's constantly offering us new and exciting forms of entertainment?
I think there's something timeless and inherently appealing about the spectacle of hot air balloons.
Yeah.
They evoke a sense of freedom, adventure, and a connection to something larger than ourselves.
Right.
And in a world that's increasingly fast-paced and dominated by technology,
Yeah.
they offer a moment of peace, a chance to slow down and appreciate the beauty of the natural world from a unique perspective.
It's almost like they offer a form of escapism, a way to reconnect with that childlike sense of wonder we often lose as adults.
I think there's some truth to that.
But there's also a strong element of community, isn't there?
There is.
It's not just about the individual experience of floating above the earth,
Right.
but also about sharing that experience with others,
Yeah.
coming together to celebrate this unique and awe-inspiring activity.
Absolutely. Balloon festivals are a testament to the power of shared experiences to bring people together.
I agree.
They create a sense of community, a sense of belonging, and a reminder that even in a world that can often feel divided, there are still things that unite us, things that inspire us, and things that make us look up in wonder and say, wow, that's incredible.
And isn't that what this deep dive has been all about? Looking beyond the surface of something seemingly simple and discovering a world of history, innovation, and human connection. What are some key takeaways you'd like to leave our listener with as we wrap up this exploration of hot air balloons and their lasting impact on Britain?
I hope our listener will come away with a deeper appreciation for the ingenuity, the perseverance, and the sheer audacity of those early balloonists who dared to dream of flight. And perhaps the next time they see a hot air balloon drifting across the sky, they'll remember the rich history, the technological advancements, and the enduring human spirit that made it all possible.
It's a reminder that even the simplest inventions can have a profound impact on how we live, how we think, and how we see the world around us. It's a story about pushing boundaries, embracing the unknown, and finding wonder in the everyday. So as we conclude this deep dive, we encourage you to keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep looking up at the sky with a sense of curiosity and wonder. You never know what incredible discoveries await you just beyond the horizon.